Welcome to another edition of Horror Tales from Around the Net. Today's episode, Pokemon Go Experience. Pokemon Go is a VR game requiring you to move to different real-life environments to catch virtual Pokemon. The game itself was a genius idea and had very good intentions. However, very recently the game has been shut down due to many extremely disturbing experiences involving Pokemon Go. I've never personally played it, but my closest friend Dallin has, and never wants to again after an experience he had. Dallin's story starts with his mom allowing him to go to a sleepover with a few of his other friends as long as he brings his phone in case of an emergency. So Dallin listens and brings his phone, which he had Pokemon Go on it. He arrived at the house, which had a very large field across the street from it, and went in. All his friends partied for about 5 to 6 hours until the host parents came in the room telling them they needed to go to bed now, as they would be going to bed. So Dallin found some place to sleep and went to bed. According to Dallin, he said he must have slept for about 2 or 3 hours when he was woken up by the host. All of the party members had been gathered up, all having their phone in hand when the host told all the grumpy party members that they would be playing some Pokemon Go, which cheered up most of the party. At the time, Dallin's favorite game was in fact Pokemon Go, so like the rest, he went outside into the large field across the street. Dallin was in fact aware he wasn't supposed to be out playing this game at this time of night, but he didn't really care because this was the first time he'd played this game with other people locally. After what seemed like hours catching Pokemon, Dallin realized he was alone. He looked around and he could find or see end houses. He was lost. He screamed for help but no one came. Dallin then remembered that Pokemon Go could find real addresses of houses, but only if some has captured a Pokemon. It was his only hope. Dallin was worried though. His phone was at a very critical battery, and he didn't remember his friend's address either. However, if he found an address that was in the neighborhood, then maybe he could find his friend's house. Someone finally found a Pokemon, but his phone immediately died as soon as the message popped up. Dallin was now hopeless. He just ran in the direction he thought he came from now in full panic, when he stumbled across an old, seemingly abandoned home. He thought about what he was going to do, but he had no other shelter for some distance, so he went inside. As soon as he entered, roaches climbed all over him. Dallin had always been terrified of roaches, so you can only imagine the fear that was going through him. Once Dallin had gotten all the roaches off him, he looked through the house. Except there was nothing to look at. Despite there being only one chair or sofa, there was nothing. However, something caught his eye outside in the backyard. He couldn't see very well since there was no power in this dump of a house. Thankfully, he said he found a flashlight somehow still able to function, but was pretty dim. So using this flashlight, he went outside and regretted doing so. Outside were 3 coffins, and being curious, Dallin opened one. Instantly, hundreds and maybe even thousands of bugs stormed out of the coffin. What was really inside was a decaying corpse of an old man. He was extremely pale, with only half of his face being present, with the other being nothing but bone and rotten flesh. Dallin immediately closed the coffin and ran back into the house. He didn't know what was in the other 2. As much as he wanted to leave this house, it was the only place he had until morning. Thankfully, the next morning he saw the neighborhood about a mile away, asked someone if he could call his parents, and he went home. To this day, however, Dallin has never played Pokemon Go. The end. This has been another edition of Horror Tales from Around the Net. Join us next time for another horrifying tale.